The average human life isn't infinite. It's surprisingly limited to about 30,000 days. That's your entire time budget. Every dream, every memory, every relationship, and every achievement must fit inside those 30,000 days. If you're 30 years old, you've already spent around 11,000 of those days forever. They aren't waiting for you somewhere. They can't be recovered, repeated, or purchased back, regardless of how successful you become. Yet most people behave as if time is unlimited. They keep repeating the dangerous word someday, believing they'll finally begin living after one more promotion, one more achievement, or one more perfect opportunity. Then something strange begins to happen. Childhood summers once felt endless, but now entire years disappear before you even realize they've passed. Months blur together until time itself feels like it's accelerating. This isn't just your imagination. It's a real neurological phenomenon called the time unit paradox. Understanding why your brain compresses time is the first step toward reclaiming your life before the countdown reaches zero. Your brain doesn't actually measure life with clocks. Instead, it measures time by recording experiences. The richer and newer those experiences are, the longer that period feels when you remember it later. When you were a child, almost everything was happening for the very first time. Every smell, every conversation, every place, and every tiny discovery forced your brain to work harder and store more memories. Because your brain was constantly processing new information, every single day became packed with memorable experiences. Looking back now, those childhood days feel incredibly long because your brain recorded almost everything. Adulthood often looks completely different. You wake up, eat the same breakfast, drive the same road, talk to the same people, finish the same work, and repeat the same routine tomorrow. When life becomes predictable, your brain quietly switches into power-saving mode. It stops recording familiar moments because nothing feels new anymore, making entire weeks disappear from your memory almost instantly. This is the hidden trap called time blindness. If your brain only remembers one repetitive routine for an entire week, that week feels as though it vanished almost instantly. You weren't necessarily busy. You were simply unmemorable to your own mind. Modern life has introduced another invisible thief of time. Every endless scroll, every notification, and every short video trains your brain to expect constant stimulation instead of sustained attention. When you spend hours inside rapid dopamine loops, your attention becomes fragmented. Instead of fully experiencing one meaningful moment, your brain jumps endlessly from one tiny stimulus to the next. Constant digital stimulation doesn't simply waste your time. It changes how your memories are created. Your brain moves so quickly between tiny distractions that it stops deeply recording what actually happened. Instead of building rich memories, your life becomes filled with thousands of shallow impressions. You consume enormous amounts of information every day, yet very little of it remains meaningful or memorable afterward. Shallow attention always creates shallow satisfaction. When every experience lasts only a few seconds before the next distraction arrives, your brain never has enough time to truly appreciate any single moment. Eventually, your entire month begins feeling like one long blur. Days pass, weeks disappear, and you're left wondering where all of your time actually went without remembering many meaningful moments. Comfort seems safe, but from the perspective of your brain, too much comfort slowly erases your memories. The longer everything stays predictable, the faster your internal clock begins to move. The moment you stop seeking new experiences, your brain quietly decides there's nothing important worth recording. Familiarity becomes invisible, and invisible moments disappear from your memory almost completely. Every routine has a purpose, but a life built entirely from routine slowly becomes compressed inside your memory. If you want longer years, your brain must be given new reasons to pay attention again. We are constantly told that comfort is the ultimate goal, but when it comes to your perception of time, comfort can become quicksand. The longer you remain inside a life you've already mastered, the faster your years begin slipping away. Your brain loves efficiency. Once everything becomes familiar, it stops paying attention. The recording slows down, fewer memories are created, and entire months begin disappearing before you even notice they've passed. Every time you avoid a difficult conversation, a challenging project, or an unfamiliar experience, you silently teach your brain that staying exactly where you are is the safest possible option. Avoidance feels comforting for a few moments, but it convinces your brain that the outside world is dangerous. As your world becomes smaller, your perception of time becomes dramatically faster. The secret isn't throwing yourself into chaos. It's stepping into what psychologists call the adjacent possible, the narrow space between what you already know and what you're just beginning to explore. You can actually retrain your internal clock by giving your brain something worth remembering again. Novel experiences force your attention to wake up and begin recording life in greater detail. Take a different route home. Learn one new skill every month. Visit a place you've never seen before. Start conversations with strangers. Small moments of novelty create surprisingly large memories. These small shocks to your routine force your brain to leave power-saving mode. Instead of skipping the day, it begins recording details that make your memories richer and your years feel longer. Instead of wasting every evening scrolling through endless content, invest that same time into hobbies, creative projects, or meaningful skills that continue growing in value long after today is over. The experiences that stretch time are rarely the loudest or most exciting. They're the moments where you're fully engaged, deeply present, and creating something your future self will actually remember. One of the simplest ways to slow down your perception of time is by protecting 1 hour before bed. Give your brain a chance to process the day instead of filling every quiet moment with endless digital noise. Silence isn't empty. It's the space where your brain organizes memories, connects experiences, and turns ordinary moments into meaningful stories you'll actually remember months or years from now. Another powerful habit is tracking your progress visually. When you can actually see your effort accumulating day after day, your brain receives undeniable proof that your time is creating something meaningful. 30 completed workouts, 20 books read, 50 focused study sessions. These visible records remind your brain that the month didn't disappear. It became measurable progress that you can clearly look back on. Stretching time isn't about filling every hour with more tasks. It's about becoming more intentional with the hours you already have, because attention, not activity, is what creates lasting memories. A tiny 1% improvement in how you spend each day compounds into extraordinary change across an entire year. Small intentional actions become powerful because consistency quietly multiplies their impact over time. When your attention becomes intentional again, life naturally feels slower. Conversations become richer, ordinary moments become memorable, and your brain finally begins recording experiences instead of skipping them. Every day presents a choice. You can continue repeating the same predictable routine, or you can step towards something unfamiliar that forces your brain to wake up and truly experience life again. You cannot stop time from moving forward. Just like the ocean, it will continue whether you're ready or not, but you can choose how fully you experience every single moment along the journey. Your habits become your days become your years, and your years become your life. Don't let your brain skip the recording of your only 30,000 days. Start living fully, intentionally, and completely today,